afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Latoya Silman. New Orleans Saints star Alvin Kamara and 3 others are now headed to trial stemming from an alleged battery case that happened right here in Las Vegas in February. And News 3's Kyle Wilcox is live downtown with the very latest on this case. Kyle?
Latoya, both Alvin Kamara and Chris Lammons both pleaded not guilty to these charges along with 2 other defendants, and their trial is now set for late July. All 4 men were in court today with their attorneys. Most notably, Kamara was with David Chesnoff, who you may recognize. He does represent Henry Ruggs in his DUI case. The other defendants are Percy Harris, and Darrin Young. All 4 have been indicted by a grand jury on battery charges, and each of their lawyers confirmed that they have reviewed that indictment. According to police, Darnell Greene Jr. says he tried to get into an elevator with the group when another man pushed him and a group of 4 people attacked him. They say he suffered an orbital fracture to his right eye, and Greene has also filed a $10 million civil lawsuit against Kamara. Chris Lammons, who is currently with the Cincinnati Bengals, stood beside his attorney Ross Goodman as he spoke with reporters today, claiming Lammons was defending himself from an instigator. Goodman references a video of the incident at the Cromwell that's circulating.
There was no agreement that Chris had with any individual that they were going to go ahead and beat anybody at that point. There is no conspiracy with respect to Chris. Chris's actions were measured, both at the elevator and at the hallway, and I think the best evidence of that is Chris pulling Percy off of the guy who was stomping them multiple times.
The NFL has yet to hand down any punishments in this right now. I'm guessing that they're still kind of waiting to see how the legal process goes about it. But again, their trial will be on July 31st, so make sure to stay right here on News 3 for any updates.
Cannabis consumption lounges officially on their way to the city of Las Vegas, a public place for residents and tourists to legally consume cannabis. City Council approving regulations just today, and Brett Forrest has been following the story for us, and he joins us now live from City Hall. Brett, what do the regulations allow, and are they in line with what stakeholders were pushing for?
Hey, Latoya, good evening. So what this boils down to is, yes, the city did end up listening and working with these cannabis lounge stakeholders. They made a few amendments to their original bill proposal, but at the same time, these stakeholders, cannabis groups, they're saying that the city's rules are just too strict still, and it could be setting some of them up for failure.
This would have changed the paradigm. This would have set an example for other cities and states to follow. They missed that chance completely.
Las Vegas City Council unanimously approving regulations to open up cannabis lounges in city limits. But stakeholders upset that requirements like 1,000 feet of separation between lounges remain. The city says they'll allow waivers which could eliminate that distance.
But the fact of the matter is, the 1,000-foot distance separation doesn't preclude these kinds of projects from coming to you.
The project's in discussion, what many were calling a new Amsterdam. Like the European city, a vision of multiple cannabis lounges within walking distance in the Arts District. A place where lounges and their license holders could prosper, advocates say, but the distance requirement causing concern.
And we had this chance, and it may slip out of our hands.
Though there appears to be large support for the idea, not everyone is on board.
Not everyone wants the little Amsterdam in a certain space.
Some worried cannabis lounges will price out the arts of the Arts District.
My fear with the cannabis lounges is that they will displace us. They are willing to pay much more for rent than we are capable of.
But financial hurdles also a big concern for the cannabis stakeholders. 7 of Nevada's 10 social equity license holders planning to open in the city of Las Vegas.
Downtown would be the perfect location, but it's expensive. And considering I'm not rich and we're not coming with a lot of money, we have to be a bit innovative in where we go.
Social equity licenses given to people adversely affected by previous cannabis laws. On Wednesday, the city lowering their licensing fees to $1,500 from the original $10,000. But is it enough?
Fortunately, these licensees don't have any money. So even though the fees have been dropped drastically, they still have to come up with all this money, and there's still no way to fund cannabis licenses.
Now, to put all this into perspective, the Cannabis Compliance Board issued 40 prospective licenses to open up these lounges across the state back in November. 20 of those will be attached to retail cannabis shops, 10 for independent lounges, and another 10 for those social equity lounges we just heard about. So 15 of those 40 plan to open up their lounges here in the city of Las Vegas. So today's decision affecting a lot of them. Now, as for the timeline, the city officials are telling me expect to have them start opening by the end of this year.
Well, school staffing, teacher shortages continue in our community and across the nation. So what's being done to keep and hire new teachers? Crisis in the Classroom investigative reporter Tiffany Lane is now holding officials accountable.
Yeah, well, Latoya, right now it's an important part of the school year. I'm told by CCSD they currently have 73 teacher openings and 99% of teacher positions filled with about 2 months left in this school year. For the 2023-2024 school year, CCSD is already recruiting for about 800 open teaching positions. Some teachers tell me they're worried some of those positions will not get filled if things don't change.
I'm seeing my teacher colleagues burn out. I'm burnt out, I go home and I'm exhausted.
High school social studies teacher Jamie Tadrinsky says teachers are tired.
We are having classes of 40 to 50 kids because there aren't enough teachers. And we see a lot of math and science vacancies and a lot of special ed vacancies, which are some of the most critically high areas for teachers.
Vicki Kreidel, an elementary school reading teacher and president of the National Education Association of Southern Nevada, says staffing shortages are having a wide-ranging impact in local schools.
We're seeing behavior that's a result of different things that happened during COVID. Also, less adult staff members in buildings makes a big difference. And also, we don't have the kind of support that we need for student mental health. My school is over 700 students. We have one counselor.
She says the issues causing teachers not to stay are not being resolved.
Pay is not high enough. There's a lot of behavioral issues and violence going on in school buildings, and it's becoming quite scary at a lot of our schools.
Last June, the CCSD School Board of Trustees voted to approve a new teacher starting salary of $50,000 to bring new teachers to the district. Current educators were also provided a $5,000 bonus, some saying bonuses are not enough. Right now, there are bills in the legislature looking to address student discipline, class sizes, and teacher working conditions. Kreidel says she's pushing for an initiative called Time for 20.
Time for 20 is following the example of states like New Mexico, who did a 20% increase for all educators across the entire state. And they also, we want to bring support staff pay up to $20 an hour as a starting pay for support staff. And it's also dealing with reducing class sizes and limiting it to 20 students.
Tadrinsky says changes need to happen on the local level as well.
We are looking to the state to enforce this, but ultimately it comes down to CCSD and negotiations and negotiating those better benefits for us, right? And it's pay, it's healthcare, it's class size, it is like working on teacher retention.
Now again, CCSD officials tell me they're recruiting for about 800 open teaching positions for next school year, and they say with the increased starting salary for first-year teachers, CCSD is confident the district will continue to be an attractive option for teachers graduating college this spring. Now send me your tips on issues impacting our schools. You can scan that QR code on your screen, or you can email me directly, schooltips@news3lv.com. You can also call 702-805-0489. But Latoya, of course, will continue to keep an eye on this. Staffing is a huge issue in all of our schools across the country.
Just click below and subscribe to News 3. You'll get more stories that affect your community.